Negotiable Instruments Act, Section 29, Liability of Legal Representative Signing. Section 29 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, 1881 deals with the liability of a legal representative who signs a promissory note, bill of exchange, or check on behalf of a deceased person. This provision clarifies the extent to which such a representative becomes personally liable when executing negotiable instruments in the course of administering the estate of the deceased. 1. Personal liability of legal representative. The section provides that where a legal representative of a deceased person signs his own name on a promissory note, bill of exchange, or check, he is personally liable on that instrument. This means that, in the absence of any limitation expressed on the instrument, the legal representative is treated as having undertaken personal responsibility for payment, just like any other person who signs a negotiable instrument. The law proceeds on the principle that liability under negotiable instruments depends primarily upon the signature appearing on the instrument. If the representative signs without qualification, he may be held personally bound. 2. Capacity of legal representative. A legal representative, such as an executor or administrator, acts in a fiduciary capacity to manage and distribute the estate of the deceased. While performing such duties, he may find it necessary to execute negotiable instruments for purposes such as settling debts, discharging liabilities, or managing estate transactions. However, Section 29 makes it clear that merely acting in a representative capacity does not automatically protect him from personal liability unless he properly limits his responsibility. 3. Express limitation of liability. The section provides an important safeguard by stating that a legal representative will not be personally liable if he expressly limits his liability on the instrument to the extent of the assets of the deceased received by him in that capacity. To avail this protection, the representative must clearly state on the instrument that he signs as the legal representative of the deceased and that his liability is limited to the extent of the assets of the deceased that have come into his hands. Such an express limitation ensures that his obligation does not exceed the value of the estate under his control. 4. Extent of liability. If the representative clearly limits his liability, he will be responsible only to the extent of the assets received from the deceased's estate. He will not be personally liable beyond that amount. However, if no such limitation is expressed, the law presumes personal liability, and he may be required to satisfy the obligation from his own personal resources. 5. Rationale of the provision. The purpose of Section 29 is to protect third parties who rely on the apparent liability of the person signing the instrument. Negotiable instruments are designed to circulate freely, and parties dealing with them must be able to rely on the face of the document. If the instrument does not clearly indicate that the signer acts in a limited representative capacity, subsequent holders are entitled to assume that the signer has undertaken full personal liability. At the same time, the provision allows a legal representative to protect himself by expressly restricting his liability, thereby balancing commercial certainty with fairness. For more details, contact us.